All right, for shading, we're gonna imagine that the sun is coming from, and you don't have to draw this, but we're gonna imagine the sun is shining up in the top left-hand corner. So that means that on the left side of all of our figures, that they're going to be lighter than the right side of all of our figures. So there'll be more of a shadow on the right side. Okay, so with a cone, we're gonna start with a cone. You just need to shade with your pencil. You don't have to press down super hard because you can always make it darker. We're just gonna shade pretty much a straight line down and then a little bit of a curve down here since it's rounded at the bottom. Okay, so we're just coloring that in pretty much with our pencil, just like that. Okay, then you're gonna take your blending stump and blend that out. So make sure you're using, again, the side of it, not the tip of it, and you're not pushing down hard. Okay, but then you're going to just go over that line that you drew for the shading part, just to soften it up so it's not like white and then gray. So we want it to be more of gradual shading, like that. Okay, and then if this part got too light over here because you blended it out too much, just go back over it with your pencil and make it darker. So now I'm pressing down harder with my pencil in the corner of the cone and along this line and blending it out. Okay. And don't worry if you went outside the lines because you're gonna actually cut these 3D forms out. So don't worry about that if you got outside the line. Okay, for the cylinder, it's gonna be kind of the same thing as the cone. So we're going to shade with our pencil a little less than halfway on the right side. And I'm going pretty fast, but again, not pressing down super hard with my pencil right now, just normal lighter pressure. Okay, and then we'll do a little bit on the top too, right there. Okay, so then take your blending stump, blend it out. Okay, and just soften that line again so it's not just white and gray. It's more of a gradual transition. Okay, and I'm gonna go back and make this side even darker. I'm also gonna draw this line back in because it kind of disappeared. Okay, but make this side quite a bit darker over here on the right side. And then just take your blending stump and blend it out so it softens the transition. Okay, and that's just helping it look round on there. Okay, the pyramid is actually very simple. So this side is going to be lighter, this side's going to be darker. So we'll just shade this whole side, the whole right side. Okay, so that whole side will be shaded. Use the side of your blending stump, blend it out. Okay, and then for this side, we don't want to just leave it white, but instead of coloring anything in, you're just going to use like what's left, like the residue of lead on your blending stump over here on this side. Okay, and then we're going to go back in with our pencil, just like we did on these, and make the bottom of this part and the right side of this a little darker. So like kind of this corner right here, we're making darker because it would be the farthest away from the light that's hitting up there. Draw that line back in. Okay, there we go. Now the cube is kind of like the pyramid in the sense that this whole side will be shaded. It'll be darkest. And I'm not doing a pretty job coloring these because I know I'm about to blend it out, so it's okay if it's kind of scribbled. Okay, so that side's gonna be the darkest. This side is kind of like this one, but we're gonna have a little bit shaded on the bottom. Like that. So we're shading like halfway up. And I'm gonna go ahead and blend that stuff out. Okay, so now we're gonna blend this side over here. We're just gonna drag up. Okay, now the top of the box, I don't wanna leave it just plain white. It will be catching quite a bit of light. So I'm just gonna take what's on my blending stump and just kind of drag from like the darkest side over here. Just to give it a little more something. I'm gonna add my lines back in. Okay, now I'm gonna also make the bottom of this a little bit darker, just like we have on the other pieces. Okay, so last but not least, we have the sphere, which this is actually more, to me, the most complicated of them all. The only thing that makes it complicated is that you have to shade in kind of a curve. So what you're gonna do first is just kind of map out almost like a crescent moon shape for the bottom, or just imagine it's like a smiley face going from one ear to the other ear. And then you're gonna take your pencil and shade that in. Okay, and then another thing we're gonna do is just like another like U shape or smiley face shape. And then this section is gonna be lighter than this one, but we're gonna color it in a little bit. So it's almost like, oops, like light or white, medium, and then dark for this part. Okay, then you'll take your blending stump and start from the bottom, the darkest part. And guys, you have to shade in a curve because this is a round object. If you shade from left to right, like we did on these, it's not gonna give the effect that it needs. So it has to be shaded in a curve. So make sure your lines are curved. But just like all the other ones, just blend it out. And you want to kind of leave this part white if possible. You can go over it a little bit, like I just barely hit it with the blending stump. Then we're going to go back over the bottom part with our pencil and make it really dark down here. Okay, and just blend that out. Okay, then you can use your eraser and you can add a highlight on your sphere, I'm pretty much just erasing that original line, or that original section that we had white. Right there. Okay. All right. So we just did 5 together. I want y'all to draw 2 more. Y'all can choose, just duplicate at least 2 more. So you could draw like another sphere or another cube or another cylinder somewhere on there. I'm not going to shade it because I already showed y'all how to shade it, but let's imagine I'm drawing another cone and I'm going to do another cylinder, and they don't have to be the same size. So I'm going to put another cylinder here. Okay, but you have to have at least 7 forms on your paper shaded.